What up, gang? On the blockchain, here we go. A lot of stuff going on. I know everybody sees how bloody the market is. A lot of panicking going on. I have a few stories I want to get to, but first, let me just talk to the people out there. Let me talk to the gang real quick. First of all, hey, shout out to everybody that's been subscribing lately. I've noticed the numbers have been steadily climbing ever since I lost my last channel. I've been trying to build this channel up, and thanks to y'all, we are now past 100 subscribers on the slow rise back to where we left off from at CryptTalk podcast. So shout out, salute, cheers to those who have been subscribing, especially those who've been engaging. I love to see comments in the comment section when people are asking me questions or giving me insight on things that they're doing or they know. It's all love. I appreciate it. What else? Solana. Okay, let's get to Solana real quick. I do have a story that I will show a little bit later, but I do have to at least be fair because I know I've been talking bad about Solana. I've been very concerned. I've been very frustrated with what's been going on the Solana blockchain with the network congestions. So I do at least have to say this to be fair to Solana. So I told you that I lost a significant amount with some of my Solana tokens and whatnot. And although a lot of it does have to do with the congestion, after speaking with the customer service rep from the Solflare wallet, apparently some of it was self-inflicted. So when you send a Solana token to a Solflare wallet, even though you have your own address for this individual specific tokens that are on the Solana blockchain, apparently you're supposed to send it to the main Solana address, your main address on your Solflare. You're supposed to send it there. Then it will delegate it to the corresponding token. I didn't do that. I sent it straight to my, in this case, Helium mobile address. So it got stuck in the, it got stuck in the game. I was able to retrieve it. So no harm, no foul, except for the fact that I lost value on that coin by about, I think it's like 70% now. But I guess that was my bad. However, there were some situations in which what I lost was due to the fact that I couldn't do the proper conversion or swap that I was trying to do because the network was down. So I can't take all the blame, but I will take the blame that is duly mine. We will get into a story a little bit later about how they are fixing the problems. And I have noticed that there has been improvements on the Solana network. Does that mean that I'm back once again 100% bullish on Solana? Well, I'm going to take my time with it. I still think that Solana has a bright future, perhaps. I think Solana does have potential, but these network congestions, it's just making me back up a little bit, consider different alternatives, because, you just can't have the congestions like that are going to fail to the point to where it's going to cost people money. Like I said, I haven't lost any coins, but the value on the coins, because I couldn't do what I wanted to when I wanted to, it's pretty significant. To the Propy people out there, yes, Propy has been hitting pretty good within the last month or so. So all those who've been, invested in Propy, knowing that real world assets is really going to be a thing, shout out to y'all. I actually minted an address. I minted a celebrity address yesterday using Propykeys, and I was rewarded a total of about $27 worth of Propy. Now, to be fair, 9 of that actually was used to mint the address, but they gave it to me. I had to use that to mint the address. Then after that, they gave me another 18 worth of Propy. You had to do it. The way I did it was on Coinbase wallet on the Base network. So Base is a second layer used by Coinbase, kind of like OP and others. What's the other one? Why am I forgetting this? Matic or Polygon. It's a second layer, and it allows you to do transactions a lot cheaper, blah blah blah. But nevertheless, I minted an NFT of a celebrity home, which you can stake and do other things with. If you want to do the same thing, you could use the link in the description. You can mint a home or a landmark, any home or landmark, using Propykeys, then you can get other kind of staking rewards. And if you want to take it to the next level, you commit your own deed to your own home, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if they sell it, even with the addresses that you meant, if the owner actually decides to engage with Propy and sell it or whatnot, you will get rewarded, blah, blah, blah. Just a good deal and a good way to earn some free crypto. Take advantage, if you will. Now, let's get into this market real quick. As we we head into this panic mode with a lot of people. A lot of crying going on. A lot of people are feeling like it's the death of crypto. Oh no, gosh, what are we gonna do? The crypto prices are down. It's bloody, it's red. What do you do? Let me tell you what some people are doing when the market gets bloody. As the retailers and some of us panic. And look, I get it. Everyone's threshold is different. If you haven't been through these cycles and you're not really used to the volatility or the sudden drops in the market, which do happen, then, you could go into panic mode. You can start to feel like, hey, not everyone can look at their portfolio being down a few thousand and shrug it off. I get it. Depends on what your threshold of swings is. It depends on what's relative to you money-wise. Depends on how much experience you have in this particular type of market. But for those of us who have a little bit more maturity in this specific niche of market, crypto, we understand. Not only that, if you've been through these cycles, then you know that once we get around the halving, as I've said before, you can expect the dip for several different reasons. One of the reasons could be Bitcoin miners will unplug knowing that they have to recalibrate because their rewards are going to be cut in half. They typically plug back in, and because just the idea of the halving, meaning that half of the output of Bitcoin will be cut off, that means that just by the supply and demand, the prices are going to have to adjust, and they're going to adjust up. And this has been the cycle, and I'll give you some numbers on that in a minute. But while some of us panic, this is what's happening with the whales. Yesterday, this man, I think that's Larry Fink of BlackRock, bought 111 million worth of Bitcoin while some was panicking. This is a real thing. So you best believe that when you see the market like it is right now, BlackRock is buying, Grayscale is buying, Cathie Wood's ARK Investments is buying, Fidelity is buying. Michael Saylor's will announce in a few days that he just bought another 300 million of Bitcoin. It happens every single time. I only wish that I had some money to buy the dip, but I don't get paid for a few days. And hopefully the market will still be trending like it is. So that way, I know I could double up on some of these coins. I know that I can get a discount price. The reason why I'm not panicking, let me show you something. For those who are panicking, for those who have never been through this before, for those who just need a refreshing in context and the nuance of not only the crypto market, but specifically during the time of halving, I want you to feast your eyes on this. Oops, that's the wrong one. Got ahead of myself. Let's try it again. There we go. So last bull cycle, the last halving, May 2020, Bitcoin was at 8,500, more or less. So think about that. Bitcoin was at 8,500 last halving. Do you remember what the all-time high was after the halving last bull cycle? Let me zoom out. 69,000. So in a short amount of time, it went from 8,600 to nearly 70,000. What does that mean? And remember, this was during a pandemic. This is why I'm not panicking. This is why some of us, including the very uber wealthy, see this as a buying opportunity. It's not me trying to shill you on anything. It's me just showing you historical record of how this market cycle works. So remember, last halving, which remember, then and halving's only about a week away. So last halving, Bitcoin was at $8,600. It skyrocketed up to nearly 70,000. What does that mean? Now, that's not a guarantee it's going to do the same numbers. What's that, like 8 or 9x from the halving? But what that means to me is that as long as Bitcoin is 50,000 plus, yes, even if it dips all the way down to 50,000, I'm not panicking, because history shows me that that would indicate a $400,000, $500,000 Bitcoin incoming. No, I'm not saying that that's how high Bitcoin is going to go this cycle. I've already said 150 conservatively will be fine with me. Some people are saying 250 because that would be a 3.5x, which is what basically the last all-time high to the previous all-time high was. But what I'm saying is, as long as it stays in the 50,000 range, I mean, if it's in the 50,000 range, look how much higher that was from the last halving, and look how much it came up last halving. This last halving, there were no Bitcoin ETFs. Last halving, we were in a pandemic. People were uncertain about their financial future, and we still hit a nearly $70,000 Bitcoin, which of course is going to pull the rest of the market up. Last halving, we didn't have trillions of dollars potentially in real world assets being tokenized. Think about that. Last halving, we didn't have as much utility on the Bitcoin blockchain because we didn't have ordinals or NFTs on the Bitcoin blockchain. We didn't have direct Bitcoin DeFi. We didn't have as much institutional adoption because we were going through the Ripple / SEC lawsuit, which everyone was afraid that, oh, wow, if the SEC wins, what else will they label as a security? We didn't have that. We didn't have the clarity. This halving, we now know that XRP is not a security, which means that likely none of the coins, especially first layer coins, won't be securities. Will they label some of the tokenized assets on the blockchains that aren't the native coins? Perhaps. We don't know yet. But my point is, the reason why I'm not panicking in part is because as long as we stay up 50,000 or more, that's very indicative of a few $100,000 Bitcoin, not guaranteed once again. But if we're going by, how much Bitcoin typically goes up after the halving, we're going to be in real good shape. Okay. So no panicking over here. No panic, put your big boy pants on, put your big girl panties on and ride this thing out. If you do have extra money laying around, like I did buy some of the dip with some stable coins. I do try to keep stable coins on deck for these dips, but I couldn't really do as much as I wanted to do. And hopefully, the prices are still going to be down. Now let's get into, I told you I was telling you about the Propy, right? Let me show you this Propy real quick. I've been big on Propy lately. We've seen Propy do a lot of big numbers. A lot of people actually have been tuning in and really engaging in the Propy conversation. Like I said, I did mint an address using Propy. I got like $27 to do it. You could use the link in the description if you want to do the same. It will just ensure that I get a little kickback, and then you can use your link and you could do the same and share it. But here we go, bringing real world on chain, right? Bringing real estate on chain through NFT addresses and landmarks. Mint, stake for rewards, and lead the way as an early adopter. If you believe, as I believe, that real world assets, that means commodities, stocks, bonds, gold, real estate, will be tokenized, then you know why Propy is probably starting to explode, and why other, BlackRock already announced that they've already started a fund for Ethereum RWAs. They didn't say Propy, but if it's going to be on Ethereum and Propy already exists, it stands the reason that, Propy can see a big influx and increase in value, as we've been seeing. So mint the world. Yes, it's that easy. Addresses and landmarks. Mint any home address worldwide as an NFT, stake and earn pro rewards. You can mint any house, a celebrity house, a landmark, whatnot. because you're not saying that you own it, you're just minting it. And then if they do something with it, if the owner sells it or whatnot, sells their home or whatever, then you get these different kind of rewards. It's not the same as minting your deed. You can also do that. You can mint your own house deed and then turn that into an NFT and use that if you want to sell it. Mint iconic landmarks worldwide as authentic landmark NFTs, easily resell on OpenSea. And that's another thing you could do with any address. You could still resell it on OpenSea and other NFT marketplaces. So it's just something that's kind of cool, kind of neat. And if you do so using Coinbase wallet on the base platform, you will get compensated around $27 minus in pro, minus the 2.5 pro is going to take to actually do it. So you can mint the address, you get one-time staking power, 2.5 tokens required per minting. They will give you that when you do it, so you don't have to worry about that. And you can earn 50 pro rewards if the real owner claims your NFT, and receive 1,000 in pro if the real owner creates a RWA. So there's that. So like I said, listen, no need to panic. Let's go ahead and look at the market real quick. I know it looks bloody. I know for some people it's just unbearable. They're not able to tolerate. You can see BTC dominance at 55%. That's pretty high. That means people are moving out of their meme coins and other altcoins and putting it into BTC because they believe that BTC will hold better than the altcoins. And guess what? They're right. Some people move the stable coins to ride it out, and then they buy the dips. Nothing wrong with that either. But let's go ahead and look at this, man. Let's look at this market a little bit before we get into some of the stories. Shout out to everybody that's watching. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Fill up the chat, the comment section, and all that good stuff. But we still have a market cap of 1.2 trillion for Bitcoin. We're still over a trillion, y'all. No need to panic. Still at 1.2 trillion. Yes, in this last 7 days, it's down 7%. It looks like it's starting to gain. These coins are actually starting to gain in the last hour. So it looks like we're recovering at this point. But this is something that happens close to the halving. And then we have different things going on that's probably making the markets a little bit unstable. But it's really nothing to panic about. If you ask me, when there's blood in the streets, that's when millionaires are made. Because those who buy these dips during the down, they maximize their profits. As we know, the halving will create parabolic gains in the crypto market. So taking advantage of opportunities like this instead of panicking and selling is typically, how people make the most money. Ethereum down 10% for the last week at 3,000. It's actually recovering. BNB down 5%. Solana down 20% down to 141. I'm actually surprised it's not down worse than that with the congestion problems, but they're down 20%. They're actually up 9% for the last hour. USDC, that's a stablecoin. XRP down 20%. Dogecoin down 20% or 18%. It's that Ton coin, which is the Telegram coin, is actually up 10% in the last 7 days. Cardano down. Everything's down, right? The last week. And of course, when Bitcoin is down a little bit, everything else is down a whole lot. Chainlink down 25%. Polygon down 27%. These are buying opportunities, if you ask me. Litecoin down 22%. ICP is down 27%. Pretty much everything's down. Uniswap down 40%. These are bloody streets. These are opportunities, if you ask me. These are opportunities to double up on the coins you believe in. Look at Cosmos down 27%. Still stakes at like 20%. Filecoin down 33%. Stellar down 19%. VeChain is only down 1%. Immutable X down 26%. Render, I think that's an AI coin, down 19%, and et cetera, et cetera. These coins are really down. And of course, you can see the meme coins are going to be down a little bit more. But these are the kind of numbers where you can just call it a sale. And I don't say that just to be facetious. I don't say that just to be like, oh, I'm trying to be optimistic about the crypto market. No, I understand. I understand something that some of you understand. We have a Bitcoin halving coming up in about a week. In about a week, Bitcoin's production will be cut in half. But let me show you something. I already showed you this, right? Bitcoin production is being cut in half, yet whales, institutions, they're buying the dips because the demand is not falling. So just simple supply and demand means that if the production of something, if the output of something, if the supply of something is low and the demand is high, prices adjust upward. It's not like more Bitcoin is being created. We know the cap is 21 million. 21 million Bitcoin. So this is why, like, let me just say this real quick before I get into some of these stories. Because a lot of people, when they try to introduce you to some of these altcoins and these obscure coins that no one's ever heard of, and you tell them, that doesn't look right. And a lot of times it's because they don't understand, first of all, market cap to coins in circulation. That is a very big metric when you're going to try to establish or assess where a coin could potentially go. So they'll say things like, and these are like these arguments, you have to know how to deconstruct these arguments. They'll say, hey, at one point, Bitcoin was under a penny. So this coin over here, that's, a fraction of a penny. It could get to $1. It can get to $1,000 or 10,000. It can get to where Bitcoin's at. Well, no, it can't. Let's talk about Shiba Inu and other coins like that. No, you won't see a Shiba Inu worth $1,000 in your lifetime. You won't see it. What you're missing is the market cap to coins in circulation. The reason why Bitcoin is worth 60,000 right now is because there's only 21 million Bitcoin. If there was 21 billion Bitcoin, Bitcoin would only be about $60 right now. If there was 21 trillion Bitcoin, Bitcoin would be under a penny right now. If there was 600 trillion Bitcoin, Bitcoin would be worth almost nothing per Bitcoin. The reason why Bitcoin was able to go from under a penny to 60,000 is because there's a limited and small supply relative to how much money is circulating globally. The reason why a Shiba Inu can't get to $1 is because there's not enough money globally to support $1 Shiba Inu. There's 600 trillion SHIB out there. There's not $600 trillion circulating globally. And even if there was, that would mean every single person and business and bank and government would have to sell all of their assets and buy Shiba Inu to make that a reality. Then they'd have to borrow more and put that into Shiba Inu. It's not going to happen, nor does it have to. But that's just the importance of understanding market cap, token supply, et cetera, okay? So the reason why Bitcoin is worth what it's at right now, even though it's down for the week, is because there's a limited supply. Okay. Let's get into Solana real quick. Let's get into the Solana deploys congestion fix on DevNet. Solana developers have developed a fix for the congestion issues plaguing the network on the DevNet to test stability before full rollout. Now, like I said, let's just do it like that. So like I said, I do have to admit that I have seen some improvements. I know a lot of these are just going on the test net and it's not really fully deployed yet, but I'll be fair and say that I have been able to do some of the transactions. I've been able to flip some of the meme coins into Solana, and I've been able to send and receive. It has got better. Does that mean that I'm fully back on board? I'm going to take my time. I'm going to watch from afar. I haven't liquidated all my positions, but I've really been pondering it. I can't lie about that. So Solana developers have released a new version of the validator client software to address persistent congestion issues and are urging validators to upgrade immediately. Anza, which is a collaboration of developers, a spinoff of Solana Labs, spearheaded the development with the release of version 1.18.11 aimed at mitigating network congestion. Validator clients, essential and proof of stake blockchains like Solana verify transactions to ensure compliance with network rules and confirm the sender's funds sufficiently before appending new blocks to the blockchain. I'm not going to bore you with all the details. I'm just showing you that they are working on it. I have personally seen improvements in the transactions that I've done. And some of the things that did happen to me personally were self-inflicted, but that does not negate the fact that even like on the mobile Helium app, I've seen problems that had nothing to do with self-inflicted error. And that is concerning to me because, you know, like if you're going to start a mobile network and use the Solana the Solana blockchain, then you want to make sure it's going to be consistent and it's going to work properly. If you're going to have a reward system built in to your mobile communications, you want to make sure it works. If you're, you know what I mean? If you're going to build a phone that you want people to be excited about, that's going to cost $1,000. You want to make sure the network that is backing this phone is going to always work. That's my thing. Well, let's get into this. Let's get to the Bitcoin halving a little bit. As I said before, whales are in accumulation phase. So even though a lot of us are panicking, there's blood on the streets. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Crypto is down. The market is dead. Woe is me. Woe is us. That's not what the whales are saying. And that should be an indicator for us. If the richest people, the richest corporations, you know that one of the biggest Bitcoin holders is the United States government. Like this should let you know if those who create our financial institution and markets are hoarding Bitcoin, even during a bloody market, the blockchain is bloody, the streets, the blocks is hot. The blocks, they're deadly right now, but they're still accumulating. That should tell us something. That should let us know something. Why are they accumulating so much? Why are they still so bullish on Bitcoin? Because they know that the supply of Bitcoin is getting cut in half. They want to accumulate as much Bitcoin as they can because they're going to turn around and flip it as derivatives to us. I told you this in 2019, that what they're going to do, and this is why it hasn't been on the mainstream up until now. Only now recently it's on the mainstream because there's ETF issuers, there's IRAs, there's different pension funds that now are introducing Bitcoin as an option. So they weren't vocal about their confidence in Bitcoin in 2019 because they wanted to make sure that they had their own products and services on the blockchain. This is why my byline on Twitter is what it is. I'm giving you the news. It's not going to be on the mainstream yet. Now that they have traditional financial markets that are now globally accumulating Bitcoin in order to make that an option of derivatives to the retailers, now it's not a conflict of interest to put it on the mainstream. Now there's no real reason to FUD it. That's why they're accumulating even now. Apart from the direct impact on supply, BTC halvings also impact miners responsible for transaction verification and adding new blocks to the blockchain. As the Bitcoin halving approaches, whales have accumulated significant amounts of BTC in the past week, with around a week left until the fourth halving, which will see the block rewards reduced from 6.5, or what is that? 6.5 to 6.25, or 3.25, excuse me. It's not even a quarter, it's 3.8. So growing demand from whales indicate bullish market sentiments. According to data shared by crypto analytics from firm CryptoQuant, the growth in demand from Bitcoin whales has never been stronger. Look at that. The growth in demand from Bitcoin whales has never been stronger. They don't care that Bitcoin is down. They may have manipulated the market for it to crash. They do this often. Because if you're going to buy 1,000 Bitcoin, if you're going to buy 2,000 Bitcoin, if you're going to buy 10,000 Bitcoin, if you're going to buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin, you'd rather buy it at a discount if you can. Because all they're going to do is sell it back to us in derivatives, not even in physical Bitcoin, not even in actual Bitcoin that you hold the keys in the wallets to. They don't want to sell it. They want to own it all. And that is what they are striving towards. Demand from permanent holders has exceeded the market supply of new Bitcoin for the first time. When demand exceeds supply, prices skyrocket. We are a week from the halving. You don't think they know this? You don't think Hong Kong knows this, as they could approve a spot Bitcoin? Expectations for Hong Kong to approve the ETF products are seen as one of the biggest market moving events for the cryptocurrencies in the near term. Yes, Hong Kong. Now, I already showed you an article about Japan, right? Their biggest pension fund are looking to introduce Bitcoin as part of their pension fund. By default, what that means is Bitcoin is the future to them. They see Bitcoin as the future, enough to hedge their own retirement on it. The biggest pension fund in Japan. So if the biggest pension fund in Japan is looking to add BTC, what about the smaller ones? You don't think they're going to follow suit? You don't think regionally other countries are going to follow suit? Back to Hong Kong, though. Hong Kong could approve a spot Bitcoin ETF. And you're panicking over the current price of Bitcoin? That's wild. Hong Kong may approve spot Bitcoin and Ether ETFs as soon as Friday, with possible trading by the end of the month, Bloomberg reported, citing sources. The approval time isn't fixed and could be changed at the last minute, the sources said. Hong Kong could approve spot Bitcoin, BTC, and Ether as early as Monday, Bloomberg reported, citing two people familiar with the matter. If listing details are worked out in time with the Hong Kong exchanges and clearing, these products could be launched by the end of the month, the reporter said. Very conveniently, this news drops as the halving gets closer. So if you want to ask me why I'm not concerned with the market being down and it being bloody right now, it's because I've seen this movie before. I know how it ends. You know what I'm saying? I know how this movie ends. It ends with everyone jumping on the Bitcoin bandwagon, from retailers to private whales to corporations to financial institutions to governments. The accumulation is going to be wild. There's really not enough Bitcoin to go around, y'all. There's really not. I mean, you have companies out there buying 10 times the daily supply. Right now, 900 Bitcoins are produced a day. You have whole companies that will buy 10 days worth of Bitcoin production. They'll buy thousands in one day. And that's just one company. And remember, when we hear the news about these companies accumulating Bitcoin, these are usually public companies that have to disclose this. That's to say nothing about billionaires and millionaires who are accumulating just on the low that don't have to disclose it. It says nothing about the companies that are accumulating Bitcoin that don't have to disclose it because they're not on the public stock exchange. They're not a public company. So that's why, look, there's no reason to panic. Let's talk about gold for a minute. There has been a debate because gold has been up pretty lately. And, you see on some of these Facebook investment groups or whatnot, people are saying gold, 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 forget Bitcoin. Look, I'll never tell you not to invest in gold or any other kind of precious metals. I get it. For thousands of years, that has been the hedge. That has been the store of value. But let's just look at the numbers. During the past decade, gold has an inflation-adjusted return of 30%. It's not bad. On an annual basis, that's a measly 2%. Hey, I'm not trying to discourage you from buying gold, but I will say this. 2% average for the past decade does not keep up with the rate of inflation. It just doesn't. At best, during the best years of inflation, that might level out the inflation. That's at best. But you can't really use gold as a medium of exchange. For one, you can't transport it well. You can't divide it well. It's a lot more costly to secure. And, store value wise, it doesn't compare. because when accounting for inflation, the world's first cryptocurrency is up more than 3,700% in the last decade, with an annual return of 44%. So, I mean, choose wisely. In Bitcoin, you can store it very easily. You can't steal it. You can't hack it. Yeah, if you keep it with your own self-custody wallet and hold the keys, you can spend it. You can use it. You can transport it. You can divide it. I'm not saying don't mess with gold. I'm just saying if you want to see an apples to apples comparison, there you go. What else is going on in the world of crypto development? Well, as we are seeing more utility added to the blockchain, more real use cases for it, for entertainment or for actually industrial uses, or DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure networks. Well, we're also seeing that the gaming has been also going crypto. So this is another thing about this particular bull cycle. Now we're seeing things like gaming start to explode, AI starting to explode. I just mentioned decentralized physical network infrastructure starting to be developed. Well, Sui Play OX1 preview, everything you need to know about the crypto gaming handheld. So look at, they are building a handheld on the Sui blockchain. Looks pretty sexy. Looks pretty sexy. Sui Play OX1 is an upcoming handheld device that will allow you to play crypto games, following the footsteps of the Solana Sega smartphone as a network branded device, but with more of a gaming focus, entering a market with competitors like Steam Deck and Nintendo Switch. Gaming startup Playtron is looking to shake up the game by bringing seamless Web3 functionality. There you go. Right now, you can get on the waiting list for this. They said it's going to be affordable. They never really said a price yet. Let's watch this. I don't know about you, but that's pretty damn sexy if you ask me. As someone who likes games, that is pretty sexy. But the point isn't to try to sell you on this particular device. It's just to show you the kind of development that is continuing to go on in the crypto market. Like I said before, it doesn't matter what the market is doing. Corporations are developing, whales are accumulating because they understand something that the average retailer does not understand. Look, if you're a day trader, yes, you're panicking right now unless you put shorts in the game. You're panicking. If your threshold for volatility is low because you're used to traditional markets like the stock market, then yeah, you may be panicking. If this is your first bull cycle and you don't understand the patterns of the halving, you could be panicking. But if you've been paying attention, then you know no matter what the market is doing, there's always development and accumulation by the wealthy. If you've been through this bull cycle before, you know we typically have a dip before the halving. If you've been through these market cycles before, then you understand and probably already know that the last halving cycle, Bitcoin was only about $8,600. So that means the last time Bitcoin went through the halving, which we will see in about a week, Bitcoin was only at $8,500. But the all-time high for that same market cycle touched almost 70,000. So my thinking is if Bitcoin even just stays up above 40,000, really, to be honest with you. But we'll say 50 because I really don't see it going. I really don't see it going under 60. But let's say it just dipped. Let's say it dipped down to 50,000 for some reason. Well, you do the math. 8,600 to 70,000 is what? An 8x. So what if it just stays at 50,000? What if it does dip to 50,000? What would historically the pattern indicate for 50,000 Bitcoin at halving? 50 times 8 is 400,000. I'm not panicking. Bitcoin goes to 400,000. Hell, if it only goes to the 150,000 that I conservatively predicted, well, it's going to bring altcoins up way past that. A $150,000 Bitcoin is about 3 trillion just in Bitcoin market cap alone. Seeing that Bitcoin typically is about half of the market cap for the full for the crypto market, that means there's going to be another 3 trillion sprinkled into the altcoins. That means there'll be about 6 trillion in the market cap. But I really think it's going to go higher than that because we have too much development, too much interest, too much demand right now. Look at this. BlackRock smashes 10.5 trillion record in quarter 1 managed assets. Bitcoin ETF issuer BlackRock posted another successful quarter, breaking 10.5 trillion in assets under management. Of course, no, that is not all in Bitcoin, but that is just how bullish and wellish BlackRock is. And BlackRock does have Bitcoin ETFs. BlackRock just bought 111 million worth of Bitcoin while the market was down. They're buying the dip. Why? Because they're going to offer it to us on the stock market as ETFs. That's why. Why? Because they're trying to make money. They want to control the game. That's why. So that means that they're going to, of course, as they have been doing, commercialize Bitcoin. This is why I say you will see it on the mainstream. That's why I said this in 2019. At one point, we'll see it on the mainstream. All of these different companies that are buying all these buying Bitcoin because they have ETFs, well, they're going to be promoting those ETFs. They're going to be making commercials as they already have. They are going to be sending letters to the people who already invest through them. Hey, don't forget, we have this Bitcoin ETF. We're going to introduce it to you at this percentage rate, blah, 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 blah. Yes. So as you know, Bitcoin halving happens, half the production is cut. That's going to make a price increase. People are accumulating like crazy. That's going to make the price increase. More people are going to have exposure to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. The demand will grow. The adoption will grow. The mainstreaming has already begun. And this is why we are now setting up for the most parabolic bull run we have ever seen in the crypto market. And I don't say that lightly because the last one was crazy. This one is going to go ape shit crazy. Major Bitcoin investor BlackRock continues to build momentum, posting another successful quarter in income and managed assets. BlackRock issued its financial results for the first quarter of 2024 on April 12th. That was yesterday, reporting a record 10.5 trillion in assets under management, up 1.4 trillion from last year. The company diluted earnings, whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's blah, blah stuff, right? The point is, they're doing their thing and they're still buying Bitcoin, just to remind you. Now, I'm not a big proponent of a lot of institutions entering the crypto market because that gives them the ability to manipulate the market. And I don't think we really need them to be successful. I understand what they're doing because at first they mocked it. No, first they ignored it. Then they mocked it. Then they fought it. And then they bought it. And that's what they're doing now. They understand that, hey, if this market was allowed to organically progress and for people to organically make their way to blockchain technology as a way to interact financially, they understand that it would mean that their traditional markets will become more and more useless. And this is why some of the products and services that they're offering are products and services that already exist on the blockchain on a decentralized level. So when they're offering you these new staking rewards, things that you can do now, you hold your money with us and we're going to give you these dividends per se. You can already do that. When Goldman Sachs reported that they have actually gave a loan, a housing loan, a mortgage loan against the holdings of a person who basically used their Bitcoin as collateral for their loan, you can already do this kind of stuff. I showed you this on CryptTalk podcast when I did it. So the things that you can do, the way that you can now use DeFi in ways that was usually preserved for the very wealthy in traditional finance. Now the fact that you can scale that down to whatever your money level is, and now you can loan and make percentages like the bank does on your own. The fact that you can now borrow against your own assets, no credit check, no forced payments every month. You can pay it off when you want, pay it off how you want, as long as the cushion isn't eaten up by the small interest rates. The fact that you could do these kind of things on your own, the fact that you can now stake, and you could for the last several years, stake coins and get dividends, much like the stock market, at a higher percentage than you do, by far a higher percentage than you do holding it in the bank. Yeah, these things are revolutionary. And if most people knew that instead of getting a quarter or 0.5% holding their money in a savings account, that they can hold it in a stable coin, which essentially is the same thing as a dollar, and you can get 8%, what do you think people would naturally do? They would gravitate to these decentralized platforms to grow their wealth at a faster rate than they can with the banks. And if they really understood how to use crypto on a higher level, these banks would be more and more useless. Michael Saylor said it himself. Actually, let me show you what Michael Saylor said. I do believe it might be on one of my shorts, but let me show you something real quick, you guys. And this is something that a lot of these wealthy people say all the time. Oh, let me find it for you before I share the screen. All right, we're going to share the screen anyway. Let's go. Let's go, blockchain crypto gang.
Of the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of the planet. And the greatest transformation of motherfucking wealth in the history of the world. What did you do? Other than sit on your fucking hands. What did you do to take advantage of the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of the planet? And the greatest
that use fiat currency as a store of value. We call them poor. We call them poor. People that use fiat currency, we call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. There's a name for them. We call them poor. We call them poor. Okay?
Billionaire might